Wait, so it's your own cigar line?
No, it's a guy brands them and makes the labels for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
I like a nice mild cigar,
Uh,
and this guy down here in Florida makes them for me.
what part of Florida?
Estero, right underneath Fort Myers.
Okay, gotcha. And
They're
so,
good.
you had one of them, JT,
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
or
He
or
was handing them out. He was handing them out about as fast as Brett could.
I,
Brett, I think beat me there, but and then the next day at golf, same thing.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I saw you guys. He sent me a few pictures of the golf. That looked like a good time.
Beautiful
Got the
facility.
guys back together, right?
Yeah, Joe Cassell,
Costello,
Well,
yeah,
Costello.
yeah,
How am I saying it? Costello.
Costello.
Yeah,
mhm.
what a good guy. First time I really met him and spent some time with him.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
dude.
yeah. Good deal. Down this way too. I think he's a East Coast Florida guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's over there, West Palm.
Yeah. I said JT had one cigar. Let's get the real number, JT. How many did you have?
Oh man, Brett. He force feeds them to you, doesn't he, Mike? He like he's just constantly, let's have a cigar.
Yeah, sure.
Have another one. Yeah. Hey, we should probably have a cigar. I
That's
mean,
fun.
it was enough. Hell, it's gone long enough. I'm gonna need some just for men for my beard. I just noticed that. Oh my god.
I shaved mine off. It looked like Christmas in Florida on my face before this. Either way, guys, let's go ahead and get to business, the racing business. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Drag Illustrated's The Racing Business with me, Jason Dukes. We have another awesome episode for you this week. We really appreciate you being here with us each and every week, and want to, always give a shout out to our presenting sponsors. Obviously, Drag Illustrated. Support them all the different ways out there, and also Racers Club. You can get your Racers Club swag at racers.club. Just got back from the World Series of Pro Mod and the Pro Race, both races, and everyone was sporting the Racers Club stuff. So definitely be a part of the club there. This week's guest on the racing business is Lord, sorry, just had a complete blackout there. Mike Tedesco from Fuel Factory. I had an opportunity to meet Mike at the World Series of Pro Mod. Awesome guy, awesome story. And so we're going to get to business and hear the story of Mike and this the creation of Fuel Factory and how that's become a thing. So let's bring on our guest this week for the racing business, Mr. Mike Tedesco. Mike, how's it going today?
Good, Jason. Thank
Good.
you for having me on today.
Good. Yeah, I'm in my post World Series of Pro Mod mine, and I have like so many names going across my thing, and I almost introduced you as someone else, so I apologize about that. It's
Sorry, buddy.
That's also, speaking of the racing business, that happens where you go to some of these events and you got to come down and just settle and get all your ducks back in the row. But Mike, tell us about yourself right now. Like where are you, and tell us about Fuel Factory today.
Sure. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I own the racetrack in Pittsburgh, the drag strip called Keystone Raceway. It's been there about 50 years. I've owned it probably almost 24 years now. And I moved to Florida about 4 years ago, Estero, Florida. Love it down here. Got into the race fuel business with Mark Wessler and Mark Tyson. It's been 2 years now, roughly, and things are going great. The guys are super, and we felt there was a niche in there for another company.
So tell us about the race fuel. Well, a couple things. One, so still a part of Keystone Raceway?
Yeah, I own the property. I lease it out to a gentleman that still runs it. Just want to get the fuel business up and running, and probably in a few more years, I would like to go back at that and throw some more money at it and keep it going.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about the property and the racetrack. Now we'll sort of go through it all. Tell us about the property, the racetrack. Tell us about where the fuel company is now, and we'll do that, and then we'll start at the beginning of the whole journey for you. So tell us about like what's 2024 and at the racetrack. What does that look like?
Well, the Greg Miller, who runs Keystone Raceway now, leases it from me, has a good schedule. He's doing a good job. Pittsburgh is, as you know, it's tough to, you have a season, and within that season, you have a season. Every weekend, it seems like it wants to rain in Pittsburgh. So he's had his battles, and he's doing a good job. He puts on some good shows. It's not an easy business. Anybody that runs a racetrack will tell you it's hard to make the racers happy, but he's doing a pretty good job. And the Fuel Factory 2024 is, I believe, will be our full breakout year. We started 22 PRI, we kicked off, and didn't have inventory probably for a few months. Just kicked it off, let everybody know we're coming. And 23 was a good year. 24 is starting amazing. And like I said, there's it's a big market share out there. We believe we can, have a good part of it. And
Gotcha.
we care. We're racers that, we're there every weekend with you. Mia, my daughter, has been a racer. She races with Jason Lynch, and they're just doing big money racing this year. Mia, won the world championship back in 2016 Super Gas. She was the only female, and still the only female that ever won that class world championship. And she loves it. She's been doing it since she was 8. And I started the fuel business actually for her. And she's working hard and doing a great job. So between Mark Wessler, Mark Tyson, and Mia, my daughter, they're the horses. They pull the train. I'm the guy that goes out there and smokes the cigars and makes some relationships.
Right. Well, also, I mean, so that people on the show know that there is a huge responsibility behind that. Like, you may have downplayed it as a person who goes and smokes cigars, but you're the relationship guy also.
Well, I've been in the car business all my life. So, I get relationships are very important. Early in my days, I had a warranty company for 20 years. So I had car dealers across the country that would sell my warranty. And I've always been the man that, there's a problem, let's get it worked out. And we're going to have problems, as I tell people, doing business together is like a marriage. You can love your wife, but you're going to have problems. You're going to work through them. And that's what we do. We focus on working through any kind of issues or problems.
Yeah. And you talked about with Fuel Factory seeing an opportunity for there to be another company. Is it is the differentiation in the products? Like, do you guys have some products that other people don't have, or is it the service, or just the market share is so big that there's opportunity for someone else?
There's market share, definitely. Our product, I believe, is superior. We sent it to a lot of engine builders and just asked them to dyno it against whoever they're using. And most of the engine shops have come back and said, we're very pleased, and we would recommend this and like to use it. Yeah. So we went through not the front door, we come through the back door with the engine builders, and we've taken our time on building the product. I don't want to, create the demand without the market there, and we had to have the inventory, and so everything's come together now. So it's ready time to launch.
Gotcha. And so something also near and dear to my heart, even though I'm a vegetarian, but food and good Northeastern Italian food. I saw an interview earlier with Peter Biondo and you, and he was talking about your big old spreads. Like,
yeah. When we used to go to the national events, when Mia was running Super Gas, Super Calm, that was my signature. I mean, I would bring the meat and cheese trays. I would bring the homemade wine. For sportsman pits, we would have the likes of Don Schumacher, Brett Underwood, the gentleman we lost, Don Corset. A lot of the guys would hang down in the sportsman pits with us because we like to eat.
I like to eat. So maybe that's a transition to the story. So Italian, yeah?
Yes.
So Italian guy, Northeast. Where does the Mike Tedesco story start?
Well, back in Pittsburgh, My father used to race dirt race cars, Heidelberg. Back in the days, those guys, stock cars would run 3-4 nights a week. So I was going to a racetrack in a stroller as a kid. And when he finally retired, I was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6. Then we didn't do anything for a few years. And then my uncle Bob Tedesco was running pro stock at the track that I bought. And he would, anytime like Jenkins come over, and they would do a match race, and Bobby was always the one that he would race. And the place went crazy when he took the best out of 3 from Grumpy, and then my brother, he raced there. So I was around drag racing. I really didn't like it in the beginning. Too much time in between. I actually ran a 6-cylinder modified at a local Pittsburgh track for a year. Then I thought, okay, well, you can only go so far with this dirt stuff. Go NASCAR. I built an asphalt car, and I had a guy drive for me, Mark Catone, because he won a couple championships. Good driver, good person. And then we did that for a while, and then I sold that. And I've been in the used car business all my life. My brother said, Mike, you got to buy Keystone Raceway. It's falling apart. The people want to sell it. And there was actually a circle track, a NASCAR track, at the same time in Pittsburgh for sale. So I did that for my brother Carmen, who passed away. And it's been nothing but good since then.
Gotcha. Does the name Bob Duvall ring a bell? Was he a part of that track at all? Or I worked with Bob at NASCAR, and I feel like he was involved with some stuff in Pittsburgh too.
He wasn't involved in Keystone. There was a big group of owners at the time when I bought it. It was like 10 owners, but I don't remember the name Bob Duvall.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what years was this when the purchase of Keystone went down?
2001. I actually was
great time to get
yeah.
business.
I'm sitting up there with a guy to repave the track and the pits, and then that's when the planes hit up in New York. Well, it was 01, right? Correct?
Yeah, 01, absolutely, September.
So we're sitting up there in his in my Navigator, and I had TVs at the time in the back, and someone called me and says, "Hey, turn the TVs on." So me and him are sitting in the back of this Navigator watching that go down. But that's when we started it. The track when I bought it had like 4-inch cracks in the middle of the track going across. And I never raced drag racing. The most I took down there was a Lincoln Navigator. And unless I had the air conditioning and the radio playing, so that wasn't my thing. But we repaved it. We put all new Musco lighting in it, bought some more property adjoining it. And it's after 50 years, I'm kind of proud it still goes on. I've been approached to build homes, and I've fought it. It's probably not the best business decision, but I can't do it to those couple hundred racers that are still there every weekend. I definitely could build homes or do something else, but we're losing tracks cross country too fast, and I'll find a way to make money other ways.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of places for homes too, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's slow the conversation down and go back through some of the progression there, and give some business advice and just some life advice also. Tell us about some of the years you're still doing it, but the years and some of the experiences in the used car sales, and what are some of the business advice and things that you learned that you would like to share to the audience?
Well, I started working for a dealer when I was 18, actually, and then I got out of it for a while. But at 30, I opened my own used car lot, and I had a warranty company that I was doing business with, and I just believe in doing the right thing. If there's a short end of the stick, take it, muster it, eat it, work through it, and that's what I've always done. Just do the right things. And that's why I was really successful in a business that has a bad name. I always, and I still tell my kids, Your name is the only thing you cannot buy. Your reputation, you can't buy it. You can't, no matter how much money or what you have, your name means everything. So value it, do the right things. And that's what we try to live by still.
And you said that that business also morphed into a warranty business, or was that much further down the road?
No, it wasn't much farther. After dealing with this warranty company at the time, I said, it's a shame. I hear the numbers that they're selling, and if somebody would do it a little bit better, they would really have a winner. And that somebody ended up being me. 1998, I started Cars, which was the sponsor for Mia for probably 10 years, but was an aftermarket warranty company for small used car lots. And we grew it into 30 some states and had 10,000 dealers across country signed up. And it was very successful. My brother Carmen, who asked me to buy the track, passed away in 15. And I said, Mike, you don't know. So I think it's time you just sell and smell the roses. And I did that. And a little sad about that. I'm too young. I'm 66 now, but I'm too young to retire. So when the guys came to me about the fuel business, I was all in. I don't want to do the marathon with them. I tell them I'm here to back you up, to give you advice, to be the guy that goes and smokes the cigars and makes some introductions, but you guys have to pull the train.
Yeah. So yeah, and we may not be there in yet as far as the order of life, because I still want to talk more about the used cars and I still want to talk more about the track. But you just hit a good point of creating partnership and knowing specifically what it is that you want to do in the partnership. And I find, as a business coach, that lots of people, they don't do that, right? Like they just create a sponsorship and they're all, no matter what their situation is, they're either all in or all out or all the things. And it's like, well, partnerships aren't about being all of anything. It's about just figuring out what you can do and want to do. Can you just talk a little bit about that? And like, I don't know if it's wisdom or just, wise or experience, but like knowing specifically what you bring to the partnership and setting some boundaries with that.
Yeah. In the beginning, the Marks asked me, would you be interested in doing the fuel business? And I said, absolutely. Let's, fly down to Florida. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation and figure out, what all it is and who's going to do what. And when they told me, what he could do and what he could do, and I just love the two Marks as my partners. I swore when I was in the warranty business, I had a bad partner or one that we did not see eye to eye. And I swore I would never do a partner in a business. But these two gentlemen, it's an honor to be part of them. They know how I feel. My name is important to me. Don't mess it up. Because if anybody's going to mess it up, it'll be me. And just do the right things. And they laid out the plan and we went after it. And it's been exciting.
Gotcha. Yeah, so let's go backwards again and continue the path. No, it's fine. It's all good. Don't worry, I'm keeping track of it.
All right.
But let's go back to the used car business. Like, how big did that end up getting? And tell us just the growing process of that.
Well, in my young days in Pittsburgh, I got in trouble. I sold a lot of cars when I was at a Lincoln dealer to a lot of the guys in Pittsburgh. And they were all very good friends of mine, and I got in trouble, and I had to go away for a short period of time. And when I came back, it was tough to get back on my feet. You're now a felon. And I came back, me and my dad opened a used car lot. I could not sell cars at that time. I had to go to Harrisburg, fight for my salesman's license again. Started, got that. I had many people that came to Philadelphia to testify for me and say, he was not involved. He's a good man. And they gave me my license back. We started the used car lot. And that was 1992. And just worked that for several years, grew it, opened, bought a corner right at a red light back in Penn Hills where I grew up. and it just was a very successful lot. I knew everybody in the area. I did the right things, and I was struggling. The only thing I struggled was when I would sell my cars. I had this warranty company, and then people would call me and say, Mike, this guy, he's not paying for this. He didn't pay my shop. He this, and I said, you know what? We'll fix that. And I started this warranty company in the garage of my used car lot, which was an old gas station, with 4 people, and that was 1998. And we grew it to be over 100 people when I sold it first of 16, and all the states that we were in, and it just do the right things. Everybody that was out there, when I hand a business card, still to this day, it'll have my cell phone on it. I understand life has problems, and I take them on. We're gonna work them out. So I never was afraid to talk to people and figure it out. Did I always make everybody happy? No. Even at the racetrack, I paved it. Some people would say, well, why didn't you use gold instead of platinum, or the track's slippery, or this, and I just try to do the right things, and it's been a good ride. I've been very blessed. God's a big part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've walked away from him, and but I really lean on the good Lord for my advice.
Yeah. If I were gonna just throw just a prompt out, like not necessarily a question, just a prompt, and just to hear your response, but the prompt is just Mike Tedesco on second chances.
Well, they're possible. I went to a homeless place in Pittsburgh, and I had a big Christmas dinner for these guys. And there's a lot of good people there. People that, whether it was a divorce, whether it was drugs, whether it was a bad business partner decision. I sat down there with lunch and I ate with them and we talked, and then I spoke. The guy, a friend of mine, asked me, "Would you speak?" I said, "Sure." I'm just me. I'm not no educated man. I'm not, I can tell you from me. And what I tried to explain to them, some of you guys might have made 50,000 a year, 100,000. Don't sit here and say, well, I'm not going back to work unless I make $50,000 a year, or unless I do this. Or you got to start by just getting on first base. So to me, we can get you to work at McDonald's and you do a great job, and say Mike Tedesco walks in and he owns a restaurant, and I see you and you got a good personality and a hard worker, I'm going to say, hey, Jason, I'd like for you to come to work for me. Now you're on second base. So I think life, you just can't go up and try to hit the home run. You have to take the steps. That's my advice in life.
Yeah. And as little or as much as you want to say about this, or you could totally just say pass, but you brought it up, so I'll ask.
I got nothing to hide.
Mike Tedesco on God.
Tough walk. I love the Lord. Jesus is my Savior. It's tough. 21, I accepted the Lord. I got baptized. Probably by 23, I walked totally away from Him, and I have a tendency of making myself feel guilty.
Being human.
Yeah, making myself feel guilty. So when I do a little something wrong, I shouldn't have. Then you kind of judge yourself, but I've learned that you can't do that. I was the type of guy, if God gives grace, right? Endless amount of grace. So I would have to, for me, draw a picture in my mind, a 55-gallon jug of water in the middle of this field. And every time I would screw up, I'd take a 1-gallon bucket, scoop it in there and throw it on the ground. Because if I don't realize that my bucket's getting empty, if it's unlimited grace, I push the limits. That's what we do. And I had to realize that at some point you have to stop going to that barrel. And I have realized that I used to go 10 times a day. I might go 10 times a year now. Okay. So, and I understand I am human, but it is a hard walk, but I try to walk it, but trust me, I still make the mistakes.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I'm probably going to draw a bucket, 55-gallon bucket up here. So I'm going to need to need to remember that. And also, if I don't remember it, I watch these episodes over and over again, so I'll remember it. So thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about building of cars, the warranty program. Like, how does that go from 4 people in a in an old gas station essentially to essentially a nationwide company?
Yeah, it was an amazing. I had no idea. I knew a lot of the dealers in Pittsburgh, and I knew my partner that I pulled on was a vice president of another company. So I didn't know the warranty business, but I knew the car business and I knew people, and I knew how they would want to be treated. So we teamed up in 98, 99. Our first full year of business, we did $6 million, uh, and we were a self-insured company at the time. So we grew. We were able to go into 18 states because 18 states will allow you to be a self-insured company back in '99, and that's what we did. We so '99 we did 6 million, 2000 12 million, 2000 2000 we did 18 million, 2001 we just kept growing leaps and bounds, and it was strictly my partner ran the back end, worked the claims, got the claims paid, entered the contracts when they came in, and I worked with our sales reps and our dealers, and I think I did a pretty good job with that. And when I sold the company, I had 70% of the people were with me more than 10 years. So I believe, that, and I told my buddy Brett Underwood this, he loves this story, that I can't eat a steak every night and expect you to eat a hot dog. I don't do that. We're going to eat similar. Okay. I might not have the steak and you ain't going to have the hot dog. Okay. So I believe in treating the people right. We've always had things that we would, every Friday I would do pizza day and bring them out in the warehouse and, turn the phones off an extra half hour. And we would, just hang out and really get to know the people. I would walk through that office every day. I knew the kids, I knew the dogs, I knew, and I think my people were, appreciative of how I treated them and what we did.
Yeah. I was about to ask if you had any advice about team building, but that probably is the advice. Treat them like humans. But beyond that, is there any other advice that you have about team building?
No, you just have to care. I really, it's hard to care for other people than yourself. I care when people are with me. I care about them. I'm responsible for them, their families. So I take a lot of responsibility in that.
Yeah. So earlier I heard you say that the partnership in the warranty company didn't end up the best or whatever, but you talk about bringing on the partner because of what he brought to it. Like, can you talk about the two pieces of that, right? Because
Sure. Yeah. We were oil and water. I mean, he was a lot tougher than what I was, and I've always been even in the car business. Dealers would say, Mike, you're too soft. To my sales reps, well, maybe, but I can tell you right now, if we go in the showroom and I say, hey guys, it's 10 inches of snow in every car, let's go out and brush them all off, get them running, they're going to go out with me. I don't believe the guy that treats them like lower than them and doesn't work with them. You got to work with your people. I don't think he gets the same results that I've gotten over my lifetime. So I believe in working with my people and respecting what they do for me.
yeah, you almost don't need to be hard because you don't need to be hard because you don't need to be hard. You don't have to ask anything 2 times or anything like that.
No.
Actually, probably even if you even had to ask, you probably never had to go ask to wipe the cars off. They're probably already done.
I honestly did. I had good people my whole life, and I give God and my people all the credit for where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Could not be there without either one.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I also hear that the company probably wouldn't have gotten to where it got to without the partner, but also that it in some cases was a bad partnership. What's the business advice that you have for people? Because a lot of the people, well, one, some of the people probably don't want to get into partnerships because they want to avoid that. But also some of the people they get into partnerships and then it's not, the 100% best partnership that they see in Disney movies and they make it seem like it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Partnerships is very hard. It's like a marriage. And as we know, currently, I think it's 50 or 60% of marriages are failing today. Um, but, again, you just have to be uh, to your faith. You got to reach down when it's hard, when you don't agree. But the problem I had with my old partner is I never talked to anybody with disrespect, and he would do that. And I really struggled with that. And I came close to leaving. It was such a great business, and I didn't know how do I replace this kind of income. And I said, okay, I'll just start another company and do it the way I originally wanted to do it. But my partner unfortunately got sick and passed away. At that time, I had to rebuild the company because I was on my way out for a good year or so, and he was just doing what he was doing, and we we had to rebuild it. And it took me, probably 2 years, 3 years. I rebuilt the company, built the escrow accounts back up, and uh, got it back.
Yeah. What were some of the big, I mean, that sounds like a big challenge. What were some of the big challenges in that business?
Control and fraud. It's like an insurance company. Just control the fraud. We've had dealers that would sell the car, or they bought a car at the auction and the motor was bad and it was making a noise, and they said, all right, well, I'll sell you this car, wait a month, then we can call the claim in and replace the motor. And just trying to, my guys would ask certain questions. I'm working with mechanics, and the would call the customer and just try to control fraud, which is still an ongoing thing for insurance companies. Just control fraud.
Yeah. And I love hearing the story because I'm, like if I was in my 20s, I probably wouldn't get it. But I'm 45, I know you're going to say it's young, but I'm 45. But some of the dates that you bring off, like I hear the date like 1998, and it's like, man, that was 3 years before the crash. And like, and then you say, oh, I bought a racetrack in 2001. I'm like, oh, that was a month before the crash. Can you talk about some of the just like long-term and long-term consistency, whatever version of it this is, your answer is, but running businesses through the different economic cycles and different things that we have here in the world?
And the warranty company was pretty recession proof because people always needed the cars, always buying used cars at the time than the new cars. The policies that we had a little 3-month warranty that most dealers would just include it with when they sold a car. And so it was kind of like on an automatic. And then we would try to extend those customers to a longer term. Once we got their contract, we would offer them a price to move up to a 1 year or 2 year. So, but that business, yeah, watching your costs on how you pay the claims. We never tried to pay everything because you can build a model. When you build a model of what you want to do, you can say, okay, I'm going to charge you $3,000 for this warranty, and I'll pay for everything. Or you can say, I'm going to sell this warranty for $500, but I'm going to be like a copay. I'm going to pay $60 an hour to a garage, and I'm going to put a used motor in instead of a new motor. So when we built the model, you just got to be careful on how you build your model.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. I think we're probably to the racetrack now. So you buy a racetrack in 2001, right before 9/11. I'm supposing. Sounds like the racetrack needed lots of lots of updates and upkeeps. What surprised you about owning a drag strip? Like, what did you learn in the first year?
Well, one, I said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to pave this. And then I said, all right, let me call Musco Lighting. There was no lights. The track was dark. I don't even know how the guys at the end of the track saw. So I called Musco Lighting. I said, all right, how much for all these light poles? It's 150,000. Okay, I'll buy these lights. Well, never thinking about what it takes to power those. So I spent over $100,000 on wires, a mile worth of wire from one end to the other. You have to pull them all, and the switches. And I'm saying, do you guys think you should have maybe told me about all of this too? So I had a lot of learning, growing pains. Never owned or never did that kind of size of a project. But it took a whole summer. We had to shut it down for 1 year. But we have a great group of people up in Pittsburgh that race there. You always have your few that that won't be happy, and that's just part of life, and you have to accept it. And I have a hard time with that. Bill Bader, who's a friend of mine. I remember his dad told him, Billy, if you ever go on that internet and read all that post shit again, I'm going to throw the computer out the window. Because it hurts when you own something and you're trying and people are just beating you up on this computer day in and day out. Any business, whether it's Drag Race Illustrate, whether it's Don Schumacher, whether it's whatever, it hurts to see people not have good things to say.
Yeah.
But
I hope JT, are you there, and are you listening to this part here? Because this is this is super critical to even, I mean, just near and dear, like some of the things just currently with Drag Illustrated, and put on 2 big events, and some of the reaction to
that's hurtful. And the guy's got his heart out there. He's doing a great job. Does he do some things wrong? Absolutely. And but overall, he's doing a great job, and he cares. So I give him props.
Yeah,
he just needs to quit listening and looking at that garbage.
Yeah, that's some absolutely great advice. So, and then you and your family got the drag racing bug.
Yeah, so Mia came up with me when my brother took me up to look at the facility to buy it. And at the time, she was very active in soccer and basketball, 8-year-old, kid. And my other daughter, Nat, she didn't really take to the racing. She was really good in basketball. And Mia just said, Dad, this is what I want to do. And I said, okay. So one of the racers up there let her get in the junior dragster, and she went down the track, and she said, oh, I love it, Dad, I want to do it. So naturally, next year I buy her a junior from Mike Boss, and, she starts competing. And Mia was a good racer from the beginning. She was fortunate to have my brother, Bill Turk, a gentleman from Pittsburgh, worked with her. He ran the car, and a lot of the people were very patient with her, and she learned the business early. She won a lot of championships at the track, and it was tough because me owning the track, we would go up early and we would run. I'd let her just run the car, get time, get experience. And some people say, well, that's not fair. Mia gets to run more, runs than somebody else. Well, I opened it up before I opened the track up, so just to let her hit the tree, get some practice. Was it fair? I don't know. But she wanted to excel in her sport, so this is what she wanted to do, and I let her do it. But it became a big family. I ended up buying 2 more junior dragsters. I ran a school, because when I would walk around the pits and I would see all the racers, most of them were 70 and going up. And I thought, this is a problem for the sport if I don't get some new blood in here. So I bought 2 more junior dragsters, and I ran a school every Saturday, and we would bring kids in, and we would go through everything, and then tame it way down and send them down the track. And we brought in a lot of new junior racers that way. Awesome. And it helped. They're currently still racing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I couldn't stop grinning when you were telling that story. I love outreach and just building the sport, and especially with kids. That's I
actually awesome. Handicapped. I had a boy that was he couldn't move his legs, so but he could do his hands. So Mike Boss built me a car that had a handbrake for the boy, and the throttle. The throttle was on the steering wheel. He could squeeze it, and the handbrake he could just pull. And it was a friend of mine. His boy, the kid used to work for me as a mechanic at the Lincoln store, and really good people. And I felt bad, and I said, you know what, I'll make a car that this kid, if he wants to do it, this is what he could do. And sure enough, he did it. And he went down the track, And the next time down, he goes down and he's going to turn off, and he didn't slow down quite enough. And all of a sudden, I'm looking and I see the car go boop.
Oh no.
But he was okay. Scary moment. He come out of there with a smile, and
Yeah.
he did it for a little while longer. But again, the kids is what I really do love kids.
Yeah. No, same here. Same here. So I think we're now up to the fuel business, unless something happened in between the warranty company, the
Time
drag.
away,
Yeah.
car business. No, there's not much more.
So tell us about I mean, you pretty much sort of told us about the how the fuel business started and how you defined yourself as a partner and who you wanted to partner with. Tell us about some of the things that you've learned so far, because actually, again, you and dates and me having this whole being like a historian of like, oh, and then we started a fuel business in 2020, and I'm like, no, right in the middle of a pandemic.
Well, we didn't even get into this part. I don't even know if you know yet, but I started I bought the rights to Gulf Race Fuel internationally. I did that right before COVID, and getting ready to launch Gulf Race Fuels. And COVID hit, and just sat. We couldn't do anything for a year and a half, and I sat on that business for a while, and it's finally coming together, taking off, and so I have Gulf Race Fuels, and I have the Fuel Factory.
Okay. And so when you say like Gulf Race Fuels and like the
old Gulf logo, you remember seeing?
Yeah, absolutely.
That company, we bought the rights from the Gulf. Gulf really is into the marketing business. They sold the rights to merchandise. They sold the rights to oil. That's kind of what they do. So we negotiated a deal, and I got the Gulf.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I'm sure Brett probably has some really cool old Gulf archives and diecast and all that stuff.
And Brett is he's a great man. He's a great hoarder. I've never seen a man with more golf shoes, golf balls, toolboxes. But me, Brett, Don Corset, we were like three amigos at the track. We always would eat and breakfast in the mornings, and we've had a lot of good times and a lot of cigars.
Yeah. So what did you learn, I guess, from fuel business and the international fuel business with Gulf, but the fuel business with Fuel Factory, and then also a pandemic, unlike any other, like what are some of the things that this business has taught you?
Patience. I was able to make things happen faster with the warranty business, make things happen faster at the racetrack. This has been a little patient because of the COVID, really delayed it and slowed it down. So, I'm sometimes impatient, and, I'm a go make it happen type of guy. But I've learned that it's not always in my time, it's God's time, and just let it, when I try to do it in my mind and my hands, I'll usually screw it up. If I'm patient and let God work in the process, it usually comes out really good.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's end it on that, and let's do our last segment. Put up your Duke. So remember, 13 questions, 1 minute answers, and if any of the answers you want to pass on, you can just pass. But Michael Tedesco, are you ready to put up your Dukes? Oh dang!
I've done that a few times in my days.
I believe you. I believe you. All right. So again, 13 questions, 1 minute each. First question is, what is the strength of Fuel Factory and/or Mike Tedesco?
Strength of Mike Tedesco is the people that he is involved with, his associates, his partners in the business, his places that we do business, where we buy our fuel, where we buy our steels, where we do things. And the most successes from the relationships we talked about building. We'll have a call once a week with Mia, Mark, and Mark. We have a couple other kids on board, Dave Morrison. Tanner and Andy Price, Mia's husband. So we'll have these talks, and we have just great relationships. We'll meet here in Florida quarterly. Just they know the deal. If there's a short end, if something's wrong, fix it. I don't care if it costs Mike Tedesco money. Fix it. Make it right. And they do a good job at that.
Biggest weakness?
Probably too weak, that I'll give when I probably don't need to give. Someone will complain about something. I'll just want to fix it at some point that I shouldn't fix it, but it's just who I am and what I am. Softy for friendships, for relationships. It hurts when you, like I said before, when someone says something that you really respected and liked. And so a little bit of a softy that way.
Biggest opportunity and biggest threat?
I think the fuel business has a great opportunity. We you always worry about all the regulations and, having a competitor that's not happy with you, that will do anything to throw sticks and stones. But just do the right things.
Most overrated and underrated part?
I'm not 6'2". That's the overrated. Underrated is the person that I am. Don't underrate. I'll do whatever to make things right. And I would think that's it.
Biggest mental hurdle?
Mental?
Yes, biggest mental hurdle.
Mental hurdle. Not condemning myself when I do things wrong. I like I said, that was one of my weaknesses. I try to condemn myself, accept the things you do wrong, and move forward. I don't know. I think that's a main thing.
The last piece of advice that you have for the younger generation?
T plus E equals R. Put the time and the effort in, you'll get your results. There's no shortcuts. Don't think of a shortcut. If you were told that, you could do this and you can have that, think about it. There's usually consequences on your decisions. I used to make bracelets and give them to kids. Make good decisions is what it said on the bracelet. And I would tell them, because in where I grew up, where my kids went to school, kids were dying from drugs. And I would try to explain to them, your last decision could be your last decision. So, make good decisions.
Last thing for the folks older than you, the generation that came before?
Anybody that tries to steal your joy in your life, push them away. We're on our back nine of life. I'll be 67 in May. I'm gonna continue to be happy and joyful, and the negativity I just try to keep away from me.
Yeah. And final question is, what's just your either personal or business ask of the people listening today?
Well, we take a lot of pride in the Fuel Factory, the brand, and what we're doing. Naturally, we would love to be a partner with you and sell you some fuel, and but more than anything, we just want to be part of the sport and continue to help people.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being a guest here on the Racing Business this week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to Wes. Thank you to JT.
Yep, absolutely. No, we thank you so much. And as Michael just said, thank you to JT. JT is our producer of the show here. Thank you to Wes and the whole Drag Illustrated team. And big thank you to our sponsor for this event, the Racers Club, where you can get their stuff on racers.club. You can find us back here next week, every Monday, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Central on Drag Illustrated's Facebook and YouTube channels. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.